What's going on? So this video gonna be about the 1990 Grammy Awards. I think Quincy Jones racked up for Back on the Block, and I'm just gonna talk about R&B. But it's funny how TV and the streets, the discard was real. Now, one thing about pretty much in the streaming era, even though it's still kind of like that, if you were a kid or somebody 80s, 90s, and you're going to the club until about the mid '00s before the radio kind of got went down, there was a big disconnect with mainstream and what was happening in the streets. And '89 was a great example of that because Babyface had the hottest album out with Tender Love. But Back on the Block by Quincy Jones got all because it was so versatile and it had incorporated New Jack Swing and had all that, even though it's not seeing the dude at all. And you can debate that about Quincy Jones. But this is how they get it wrong with what's happening and cracking in the streets. Soul to Soul had the sound, Babyface had the pen game on lock. And Bobby Brown was still probably considered the still on the pulse. But Babyface's Tender Love album was that album at that time. I mean, come on now, it was nothing like Whip Appeal that was on Back on the Block. I know Secret Garden was a big song. I liked it. It was a first of its kind with the 4-part harmony with the different male artists and the collab situation. But I'll Be Good to You was a corny attempt at New Jack. I mean, it was good to have Ray Charles and Shaka Khan feature on the track, but it was corny. I like some of it. I love Tomorrow, Better You Better Me, Tevin Campbell's remake of the Brothers Johnson song on the record, which was nice. I'll give you that. But in these streets, Babyface had the album. And it's funny how that used to be when you watch the award shows and stuff and what they deemed worthy and what was really happening in the streets. It still does happen to an extent, I imagine, but people are not as engaged or involved per se with them awards or as engaged or involved with this or that because we always knew the awards were cringy and they were racist too because sometimes they didn't want to put the hip hop awards. I remember 89, 90, they didn't want to put the rappers on, then they want to put R&B on. So it could be a bunch of jive. Never mind. And they were still mad, upset with Michael Jackson for breaking the barriers with Thriller and having to give him all the awards because that's the first time, aside from Stevie Wonder's dominance in the '70s, but the first time, like in modern, where they had to acknowledge something that was actually happening and they couldn't create a reaction to give someone else token awards because there's so much bought and paid for, and it's always been fake and fraudulent. Not saying that the people like that didn't deserve what they got, because let's make no mistake about it, they couldn't give Michael Jackson enough awards for his dominance, but they sure made him pay for it with the bad era and that whole how black artists got shut out the Grammys in '87 with